Welcome to That's Canon, a podcast talking about the Canon film series and other similar movies. This is episode 46, and I'm Phil.
And I'm the worst ninja ever, Greg.
You are Greg Dudikoff.
Greg Dudikoff. Even the last name sounds dumb.
The last name of
Sorry,
Dudikoff
buddy.
sounds fake.
Duty.
It's almost like a 12-year-old was like, okay, let's put dude in it. And then got to make it sound kind of like exotic, like, something foreign. Dudikoff.
It does kind of sound weird, doesn't it?
American Ninja. The poster says the deadliest art of the Orient is now in the hands of an American.
The incapable, laughable hands.
Exactly. Now, Michael Dudikoff looks like a douchebag.
Oh my God. I have that exact note. It's like line number 2 in my notes is just, man, he looks like a douche.
He does. He looks like, all right. So, in Return of the Living Dead, there's Tom Wilson.
Which one is he? Is he Freddy?
He's the guy who, I don't know the character's name besides Suicide. He's the guy.
Suicide and Trash.
Yeah, Suicide and Trash. He's the one that works in the UNITA medical supply.
That's Freddy. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like him, right? He looks like he looks like a discount bargain bin Tom Wilson.
You're in a bad rap because when you're the dollar store version of an actor already that most people haven't really heard of aside from genre weirdos like you and me. Sorry, Michael Dudikoff. We're like really digging into you right now.
He deserves.
I hope you're not listening.
He deserves it. And I know he can't help his face, but the way that he acts in the movie, he could help. Right?
He's not a great actor, but also I think that maybe there's a little bit of blame on the script because we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but he does not say anything for the first 15 minutes of this movie.
That's right. He doesn't.
Except he just sits there and looks like a jerk.
Yeah. In fact, he was casted because they wanted someone who had a James Dean look. And they purposefully wanted someone to not talk too much, who just had like a baby face, emoting attitude.
He maybe like James Dean if you put him through like a taffy puller or something.
This is like the Executioner, who's the moldy sack of bread. Yeah, Gint Master. He's like another Robert Ginty, where he just kind of looks like a fucked up human.
Yeah, I would. That's a great comparison. I would take Ginty over Michael Dudikoff any day.
I would take. Oh my God, why am I blanking on names right now?
Shokushoji.
No, missing in action. Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris was originally supposed to be in this movie. He was supposed to be the American Ninja.
Oh, did he pass on it or something?
He did, because at the end of the movie, spoilers, when he's like in ninja garb, his face is covered, and Chuck Norris was like, he was like, you're gonna see my face if I'm in a movie.
What a douche. This just like, it's like douche cast right now. Like all these guys. Wow. Okay.
There was only one actor in this movie that I would say wasn't douchey, and it was Steve James
Jackson.
Yeah, and he was the friend who died in The Exterminator. He's the one that Robert Ginty
wait, really?
pulled the plug on at the end of the movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't even play. Wow. I knew he kind of looked familiar, but I did not. I just didn't even think about it. Wow, that's awesome. No wonder. He was my favorite character, Jackson.
I was like, man, this guy, he actually can fight. He has good physicality and he has good screen presence. And I was like, what else has this dude been in? And he was in The Exterminator. He had a very long career. He's actually in a couple of the sequels for American Ninja, but he died at a young age at 41 due to cancer. So
that's sad.
Yeah, he got cut down.
And that stinks because you're right though. He's kind of funny in this one. He's got like that action movie star build.
Yeah.
He's got the whole package. I was actually thinking, because we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but he shows up shirtless at the very end. And I was thinking during that whole scene, like, man, he could have been in Arnie's Predator
Oh,
gang
definitely.
in Predator. He has that look about him.
He could have replaced crap. Okay, I'm blanking on names. It doesn't matter. He could have replaced someone in there.
Anyone.
And Sam Furstenberg, the director of this film, is the
Yeah.
director of Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3. So it's not like that this guy doesn't know how to make a ninja film, but
Right?
you could have fucking fooled me.
Yeah, this was I think that's probably a good note to start on. Like overall, my thought of this was like it's a major step down, especially coming from Ninja 3 The Domination, which was like Hall of Fame level of like canon movies, which I love. I own it on Blu-ray. It's awesome. You're right. It's amazing that this movie came from the same director.
Yeah.
Which is
And
a crying shame.
it is. In fact, just to, I guess, kind of spoil the lead, if you haven't already caught how I feel about this film, my review on Letterboxd, I won't give a star rating. All it says, if this script was more than 5 pages long, I'll shit my own pants.
That's quite a that's quite a wager you made there.
It's so let's get into it. First off, I watched this on Daily Motion, some shit VHS copy because I couldn't find anything, and then you go over to YouTube and you find American Ninja for free
like 2 seconds.
there.
Yeah, so we were talking. I think last episode we might have mentioned it in during our discussion was that like it was on Amazon Prime, but it was like due to leave a couple days before we normally watch it, like during the week. And I think you went to go watch it, and they like pulled it early or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to still be there, but it was totally gone.
Yeah, so we thought we were gonna have to settle for crappy like third generation VHS copy, but a quick bit of Google foo today saved me the JPEG nightmare that was that stream. So
because
I got to see it. Yeah.
This is another one of those movies where if you go to Amazon, you could buy all the sequels, but for some reason, the first one is missing in action. It's gone. Like I don't know. I don't know why it's not there.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if there's like some kind of licensing issue or something. Someone's estate is holding on to the rights to this movie for dear life, and I don't know why.
Well, anyways, as the movie begins, we get a nice, beautiful Canon logo. It looks
Perfect.
great. It's
full musical jingle too.
Yeah, it sets the mood for what you would think is going to be an amazing movie, and then the movie starts.
Oh my god! And you're not kidding. Like, for everyone listening, like it is really like the first note in the score. It immediately sounds cheap. It's almost like the opening to a TV show.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I had so many like moments where I was hearing the score, and I put that in quotes. I was like, this is just temp stuff from the A-Team.
Oh my god. Are you in my room again?
I'm watching you.
Literally line number 4 in my notes is, wow, okay, this feels like an opening to an episode of the A-Team.
Yeah.
It's that like, I don't know how to describe it. It's that like kind of like cheesy artificial sounding trumpet.
Yeah.
Like the kind of cheesy backing music you would play when you're like doing an establishing shot of an army base.
Exactly. And everything looks cheap.
Lit really flat. I mean, again, going back to other ninja movies, like I remember how cinematic the opening of Ninja 3 was.
It was.
with that cave at sunrise. It looked awesome. It set a great tone. And this is just, it's like a broad daylight, like a crane shot of an army base in, I don't know where it was, but it just looks cheap and it feels like a TV show.
And I'm glad you said that. Shot where? I don't know. It's supposed to be a foreign country, but it's probably like Palm Springs, right? It's just, I would be willing to bet that this is just Florida.
You think? I thought it had a very Philippines feel to it, like it, because I think that's where they shot the first.
I mean, shit, you could be right.
Ninja movie,
that's
right?
Where they shoot a lot of these films.
Into the Ninja,
too.
yeah. just based on like the trees and the kind of the scenery, like they show some mountains and ocean. It's
Oh,
somewhere in
true.
South, somewhere in kind of the Southeast Asian islands somewhere. I don't know for sure, but well, I'm sure we can look it up.
But yeah, so the movie starts and you get Michael Dudikoff and he has a butterfly knife and he's kind of twirling it around and there's other army people, they're playing hacky sack and they're just really into it and no one's hair is within regulations for the military.
Oh my God. So that's like, again, when I mentioned before we started recording that I've got questions for you, they all revolve around like military protocol and rules.
Oh yeah.
I'll mention them as we go through, but I've got lots of questions for. I need your expert opinion on this.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to, I guess, just like the hairstyle when they make military movies. It's so easy to do the hair standard that I don't really get why they don't do it, right?
Yeah.
So, and then another, like, if you look at everyone who's dressed, you get what Madison is a sergeant or a private. I don't, who fucking cares? He's in his army blues and he has like his tie a little bit undone, his buttons are unbuttoned. You would never be able to do that.
Just uniform violations left and right. Is what
Yeah,
you're telling me.
exactly. You have people standing outside without their covers on. You have people with their sleeves rolled up, but they look like crap. There is definitely rules and regulations for how you do everything. And there's no way Michael Dudikoff would be able to lean on a truck with one hand in his pocket and the other one twirling a knife.
I'm glad you mentioned the sleeve roll up because I think that's his look
It
through
is.
most of this movie is like chopped off fatigues with art like sleeves rolled up to his shoulders to look. I guess it's that James Dean look they were going for, man.
It's 100% rebel without a cause.
Yep.
But Michael Dudikoff comes off as more of like a rebel without a clue.
Jokes cast.
Exactly. He's a douchebag
Hey.
in this movie. But as everyone's, playing hacky sack and twirling knives, all of a sudden the colonel comes out with his daughter, who's played by Judy Arneson, who is a Friday the 13th alum. She's from Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter.
I knew she looked very familiar. Also, I couldn't place it.
It's interesting. The Friday the 13th Part 4, I think, has the most teenagers who don't deserve to die in the movie, like in the series as a whole. And she is definitely one of them. She's like a very like innocent, sweet character. She's not the one who's like, I think I'm in love, and then she immediately dies. She was killed in the raft in the middle of the lake. She gets stabbed up underneath it.
Oh, that's right. She was going skinny dipping and like someone like she ended up like going by herself or something.
Yeah,
that's right. And she was, oh yeah, God, I remember she looked really cold in that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that. I just remember her like shivering when she got into that raft.
She actually got, according to some trivia that I read, she got hypothermia after filming that. So,
well, I'm sure she appreciated then coming to whatever tropical equator country she shot this in,
exactly.
and she was able to warm up a little bit.
But she's the sexy daughter of a colonel, and for some reason, she's going to be put into a military convoy as they transport MacGuffins that don't matter, and the daughter. And the daughter's hot because all of the army people are ogling her and doing like the oh damn cat calls and looks and stuff.
Again, that's all definitely like within military regulation. I'm sure. Cat calling the colonel's daughter. Yeah.
And I remember transporting the colonel's daughter multiple times in hostile countries with military equipment.
Oh yeah, that's a thing that happens.
It's a constant thing. Do you know what was
so many colonel's daughters?
Every colonel's got a daughter. It's standard issue. What was really weird, it took like 3 to 4 minutes for like the intro credits to kind of start. right? Like the movie starts, there's a couple things, and then the credits start again instead of just
Yeah.
kind of like seamlessly going throughout the entire thing. But
Again, it still it made it feel like that was the cold open to the TV show, and then we got like the title like the title credits.
yeah, exactly.
I swear this was like a TV script or like like a pilot, or maybe like a season one of a TV script that they just like no one wants to buy this show, so here you go, Canon.
No one wants to buy this shit. Uh
Greg, you pronounced shit wrong.
yeah, exactly. 100%. As the convoy is going through the scenic, I will just call it Philippines, the scenic Philippines, they get up to a roadblock and they get, stopped in the front, and then they look behind them and like an earth mover comes up behind them, and now they're bottlenecked, they're trapped. And an assault starts to happen with all these people. They're trying to steal the supplies that are on the military truck. And obviously, the colonel's daughter is very afraid that she's going to get kidnapped. And so is Michael Dudikoff. He's afraid.
See, I had him as Ninja Boy in my notes, but Michael Dudikoff is a fitting stand-in.
And then they start fighting. Like Dudikoff starts throwing some bows and trying to do some ninja stuff.
Ugh.
And he looks horrible doing everything.
Yeah.
I
really amateurish and slow.
Everything is slow.
By comparison.
Like
yeah.
Everything, all the action beats that include these people, because Steve James isn't there yet, is very slow, very telegraphed. A lot of shots from behind Michael Dudikoff as well, of like anytime he has to physically do a stunt, like a roll, I'm gonna assume it's not him.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think you get a lot of kind of closer shots of him when he's doing his fighting scenes, and I think you're right. I think it's just because either he looked bad doing it, so they just got so close you couldn't tell, or yeah, it's just like a double when he's doing rolls and flips and stuff. I mean, definitely when he's doing flips, but even the easy rolls, I'm sure it's a double.
Yep. But his entire platoon is getting wiped out, and overseeing from a ridge is the Black Star Ninja Master.
Yeah.
Played by
I like that guy.
Tadashi Yamashita. I don't think he's gonna spoilers, he's gonna be in American Ninja 5.
Oh my god, there are 5 of these.
Yes, but don't worry.
No.
Michael Dudikoff isn't in part 5. Pat Morita is though. So
yay.
And some guy named Clement von Frankenstein.
Wow, talk about made up sounding names.
Clement George Fryer von und zu Frankenstein.
Oh my god, that poor man. What's going on there, Fartenstein?
Probably. He was in Young Frankenstein. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, we're getting way off topic.
What a rabbit hole.
But yeah, the colonel's daughter, she tries to drive away, but she immediately flips the car because I don't know, because she's woman. Like,
yeah, we got to talk about her behavior in this action scene. Like all the army guys are like, okay, just cooperate. It's nothing's like here's like worth dying for. Just let them take the shit, and then we'll be on our way. It's like, again, it's not worth dying for. But like where she's like being super combative, she's like, come on, let's take them, trying to get the guy in the car to like gun it, and then she's like trying to slap the guys with guns.
Yeah,
these like armed guerrilla fighters, and she's just trying to slap the shit out of them. And then yeah, she steals a car and flips it. Like, what is this behavior? Was she not like told like, hey, Carla, hey, we're in a hostile country. You should, if you ever get in a dicey situation off base, cool it.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. I get where she's coming from, that she wants to protect herself, but she literally has like army personnel with her. And I don't really get why she thinks that she's going to take the lead. Her dad's the colonel. She isn't. Right.
Yeah. Just let the pros do it. Like, let the people with guns do what they're gonna do. Don't get shot.
But even the pros, in quotes, fail at doing literally anything besides Michael Dudikoff. I think
maybe that's why she reacted. She's like, wow, these guys are idiots. I gotta take matters in my own hands.
Because like the entire platoon gets wiped out by the Black Star Ninja Brigade. I mean, these the military literally have guns and they're getting shot by bows and arrows and stabbed with swords. You have to be within
Yeah.
like sword length, sword
Sword
reach
range. Yeah.
to get killed by a fucking sword, and these guys are getting taken down. Like
Just the worst army guys ever.
with no issue. It's all with ease that the ninjas kill everyone.
Hmm.
And then the general's daughter does eventually get captured by some dude. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. By one of just like the random rebels. And then Michael Dudikoff comes out of nowhere and starts doing martial arts type stuff. And the Black Star Ninja Master is extremely impressed to the point where apparently he just goes, fuck it, don't attack right now. Let's just look at him.
Yeah. Well, I think he even says something like, well, he's got some serious skills or something stupid like that.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Black Star Ninja, are you watching the same movie we're watching?
Yeah. So
Come on now.
Dudikoff and the general's daughter run into the jungle. The general's daughter is giving him the third degree, but Dudikoff is finally talks after 17 minutes, and he's essentially like, hey man, we need to get the fuck back to base. And he like rips her skirt into pants and then breaks her heels to make them into shoes. And
Yeah, that was a little weird.
she's really pissed the entire time. She's like, oh, you're gonna go to Italy, buy me these things, and blah 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 blah. I'm like,
Ugh,
dude,
I hate that trope.
yeah, the
Like it's like the kind of like urban kind of like comfort life daughter, woman in damsel in distress, and then like the gruff stoic, mountain man, and they gotta learn to like hate each other at first, but then they end up falling in love. Ugh, I hate that trope so much.
It would be better if he seemed capable in any way, right? Like when he does things, he doesn't seem capable. He's only winning because he has main character armor, right?
Yes, main
And
character ninja skills.
she would come off better if she was capable at doing anything as well. Like if she was like, hey, don't, kind of like Rey in Star Wars, right? She was like a strong female character. She was capable of helping herself. She didn't need no man to do it for her. If she was able to do something like that, and I know this is the 80s, so that doesn't happen in these movies, but if she was able to provide something beyond looking pretty, then yeah, I could see her, getting off by being mean, right? But she doesn't provide anything to the plot besides just being her.
Yeah, the only way that it would be less annoying if like she was to end up like teaching him things, like as the colonel's daughter, she ended up being a lot more capable than he gave her credit for, and having it be more like they're teaching each other and that's how they like fall in love. I would hate that much less than what we got in this movie.
Yes. As Dudikoff and the general's daughter are running through the forest, they jump into the river to break free from the ninjas. And then we get just like this really cringe-worthy scene of Dudikoff essentially going like, hey, we need to strip down and get our clothes dry, else something.
Hypothermia, you know all about that, honey.
In like the 90-degree jungle. Also, they were driving for like 10 minutes. They can't be that far away from base.
No, just like walk in your wet clothes. Yeah. Again, you're right. It's like if it's in the middle of the jungle. Like I guess maybe if they're gonna be out there for a couple of days, they'd have to worry about like trench foot or something. But I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. And then as they strip down, obviously she's ogling his body. He does have physicality to him. He has abs and pecs and
yes, the movie makes damn sure that we know about that because we get another really uncomfortable like pan up shot of his like from abs to pecs to his stupid face, just really slow. Oh my god,
it's like George Kirk looking at the Enterprise. He's just like, fuck, I love that thing.
Oh yeah, that's what we need is like that the Star Trek motion picture 10 minutes of gratuitous Enterprise shot. Only in this case it's gratuitous Dudikoff physique.
Dudikoff. The general back at the army base. The general is or the colonel is getting super pissed. He's like, where the fuck is my daughter? And there's only 2 survivors of the assault. And they're kind of like, hey, yeah, Dudikoff ran off with her into the jungle to save her
Doing
life.
his hero shit.
And the colonel is like pissed. He's not thankful that someone took the initiative to attempt to save his daughter's life.
Yeah, like
that's kind of weird, right?
Because think about the alternative. Like either they see her get taken off into the woods with a trusted like soldier, or with the guys who are trying to kidnap her, right? Like obviously, like things went to shit, but clearly the better of the 2 scenarios occurred. Why wouldn't you be at least a little relieved? Right? I mean, I don't get his reaction at all.
Yeah, I would be relieved, but enter Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson.
What a lazy name.
What are we gonna name this guy? Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson.
And it's Steve James. And Steve James is he says to the colonel, have you ever heard of ninjutsu?
Yes.
Essentially, Jackson is talking about how the people who assaulted the army and Dudikoff are ninjas, despite the fact that he wasn't even there.
Nope. Based on this was hands down the quote of the week, because of like just the laughable description and lack of information that they're going on to assume that this is all ninjas.
Yes.
Jackson says, like, have you ever heard of ninjutsu? What's that? The secret art of assassination. Oh yeah, of course I have.
It's like, well, sure, you have.
According to eyewitness account. Yeah, right. Like he's just like trying to not sound like an idiot. Oh yeah, I've definitely heard of ninjutsu. Of course I have. And then he's talking about like how like eyewitness accounts and all of the quote unquote evidence leads to it being a band of ninjas who attacked the crew. Like what?
It doesn't make any sense. How does Jackson know any of this? I don't, whatever.
I guess maybe like if like they found ninja stars sticking out of the skulls of some of these guys, but I don't think we saw, like, I think we just saw some bow and arrows, right? Like that was the only ranged weapon.
I think they do a couple of ninja star things later on in the film, but nothing right now.
No.
But yeah, so then we cut to the enemy lair, and it's actually a very pretty area. I'll say this, like they're up high in the mountains. It's very scenic.
Oh yeah.
It's classic bad guy. He's wearing like a light tweed suit, right? And then so you immediately know like he's the real bad guy.
Yep.
And he's talking to the Black Star Ninja Master, and he's like, how does an American know ninjutsu? Isn't it illegal to have taught someone from the West that? And the Black Star Ninja's like, yeah, you'd fucking die if you did that.
Thanks for that.
Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that it would be illegal to teach a Westerner how to be a ninja.
I mean, it goes against what we've seen in this guy's previous ninja movies. Like, it's uncommon, but there are clearly like Western guys who become ninja masters. The guy in the first movie, Enter the Ninja, like we see the whole first part of that movie is him like in his final test, right? Remember he cuts off the head off the dummy, and
oh man,
like
like I long for that. I long for that moment.
Oh yeah, we didn't get anything like that in this one.
Yeah,
no, this opening ninja battle was not exciting whatsoever.
It was a limp noodle. So and again, it's kind of weird because like the army people in the scene before are like, nothing in that cargo trip was valuable, but when we talk to the evil bad guy, he goes, the most valuable cargo got away. So are we saying that the most valuable cargo is still worthless?
Oh yeah, because it kind of goes against what they say, like when they get like pulled over, like, oh, there's nothing here worth dying for. Like,
yeah,
if there's expensive like high-tech military equipment that you do not want to fall into the like an arms dealer, wouldn't you put a bigger price on it? Like try to defend it a little bit? I don't know. It
Exactly.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Uh, and the bad guy's like, I might have to shut down my entire operation because they failed one time.
I guess it, when you're an arms dealer, you don't keep a lot of like inventory on hand. You kind of like it's a like just in time delivery.
So okay, I'll go with that.
I guess.
But the evil bad guy's like, hey, we need to kill Dudikoff, so go out there and get it done. Just then, Dudikoff and the colonel's daughter, they get back to the military base, and Dudikoff is like immediately nabbed, and they're like, we're gonna court martial you for protecting the general's or the colonel's daughter and fighting the rebels. But he wasn't the one who incited the violence. He just took a part of it.
Yeah, I feel like they're blaming him a lot more than they really should be. I mean, court martial him for that stupid uniform he's got on, but
yeah,
not for this.
And his face.
Dishonorable discharge for looking like a douche.
Exactly. The colonel is talking to one of the sergeants in the room. He's like, give me some more information about Dudikoff. And they start rambling off. He's like, oh, a real name unknown, next of kin unknown, date of birth unknown. He's been put in the military because it was either this or jail.
Or jail, right? Like, okay, here's the first of my many like military protocol questions. Like, can you even join the military without knowing some of that information?
I know. Okay. I mean, there's so much paperwork to join the military.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
Insane. I don't think there's at any point I could have gone, I don't know what this is. Like I've seen people get to basic training and they're like, what's your social security number? And the kid just had a blank face. And they're like, we can't go any further unless you know your social security number. Like, you need to fill out this paperwork.
Oh my God. So, yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, he said, like, date of birth unknown, parents unknown, like, place of birth. Like, how did he build? I mean, maybe back in the 80s, things were like, you just needed, like, a can-do attitude and the shirt on your back, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
But nowadays, there's no way that would fly.
It's also weird, the whole can join the military or go to jail type of thing.
Only the best in this military.
Exactly. And I think it does come down to the military branch that you're wanting to join. A judge can say join the military or go to jail, but the military does not have to accept you into the actual military. The Army Recruiting Regulation 601-210, paragraph 4, 8B states that any applicant, as a condition of any civil conviction or adverse disposition, or any reason through a civil or criminal document or court, is ordered or subjected to a sentence that implies or imposes enlistment into the armed forces of the United States, is not eligible for enlistment.
Huh. So what you're saying is this movie's bullshit.
I think a lot of the whole like it was either this or jail, yeah, is total bullshit. I know in times of war, they will, or times
conscript
of need,
people basically.
Yeah, they'll like, oh, we'll just look past that, right, and we'll let you in. But on the other hand, when they don't need you, like when I joined the Air Force, they didn't really need people. They were going, oh, you have a tattoo? Yeah, we're not letting you in. Like they'll just,
it can be a little choosier.
Yeah, they'll just make up any reason to be like, yeah, you're not coming in, dude. So
yeah, that's, and I'm sure, I feel like I've seen this in other movies too, where it's like, there's that like either you're going to join up or you go to jail. It's your choice. And like, yeah, unless it's like really dire need, like we need people ASAP because we're fighting a losing battle or something, like that makes no sense to be that lenient with bringing like criminals into the ranks. Basically, why would you try to do that to yourself?
It definitely, you don't want to have a band of criminals with guns in your military, right?
Listen, Phil, I've seen the Dirty Dozen enough times to know that the
this is a
criminals get it done.
this is a good idea.
This is a good idea.
Kind of weird, but yeah, it's definitely one of those tropes that they do in movies. And we find out that Michael Dudikoff had amnesia, and that's why we don't know any of his past, and neither does Dudikoff, which I think is another disqualifying reason for being in the military. I don't think you can have amnesia, or like that means you've had a TBI of some kind, and that's probably going to prevent you from coming in.
Traumatic brain injury for those who are wondering what that meant, but I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you think like, oh, I don't remember anything before I was 16. Like, so you probably had a really bad concussion at least, or yeah, something horribly bad injury wise. No, man, we're good. Get out.
Yeah. Kind of weird. Also amnesia. I get it depends on the severity of what you have. So mild levels of amnesia will last between like 5 to 60 minutes. Extremely severe amnesia usually lasts for about 4 weeks. To lose entire years of your life, I think is pretty rare.
Dudikoff actually is like missing a whole hemisphere of his brain.
Yeah, like I don't. Again, I'm not a doctor. These are just things that I looked up online because it was way more interesting than watching the movie. But I don't think losing your entire life without losing like motor skills, right?
Yeah, you think like other really important things go with it. Yeah, like motor skills or the ability to walk and speak and hold a fork, things like that.
Yeah, this guy wouldn't be walking around if he
give
had
this man a weapon.
pretty much. So as Dudikoff is walking around the military base, essentially everyone's giving him shit because they're all blaming him that the consequence of his actions led to the death of an entire platoon.
Yeah.
And then we kind of fade back to the villain lair, and they're kind of looking at this old Japanese guy who's in charge of doing all the gardening. And for some reason, which we'll find out later, the bad guy is just casually like, oh yeah, that's a Japanese guy. He does my lawn. He doesn't talk. And the Japanese guy just kind of like looks around and smiles, and everyone walks away.
Wink, wink. Nothing's going to come of that. Nudge, nudge. Foreshadowing.
Exactly. They walk away to the ninja camp where we get introduced to the not so Power Rangers because everyone's in like different colored jumpsuits.
It looks like a ropes course at like a corporate retreat. Yeah, all the way like down to the colored t-shirts, because like all the different ninja groups, like some are in purple and yellow and orange. It reminded me of Power Rangers, but also those colored t-shirts the teams had in Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh yeah,
right, those t-shirts, like all the primary color t-shirts that they would wear. No, bright purple does not camouflage.
Yeah. Unless it's supposed to signify like what you're doing that day. Like everyone who's got like a yellow tunic, you're doing flips, and red tunics, you're doing stabs, and
red tunics getting killed by the professor.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what happens. The Ninja Star Master just starts fucking wrecking people as just like a demonstration of power to the evil overlords. And it's just kind of like you're killing your own men for no reason right now.
Like you're spending all this time to train them. You're probably lots of money and time to get these people like professional ninja level, and you just snap their necks for like a pissing contest to the boss. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you got to think of it from like a corporate strategy. It's easier to retain an employee than getting a new one because there's all that investment and
institutional
recruiting
knowledge. Yeah.
I think they say it's like $200,000 alone just to get like a new employee for companies. he pretty much destroyed like $1 million worth of people right there.
I would have been great if like the evil overlord was like, "What did you do?" That was, you know, and actually like got pissed off about the dollar value of the ninja that he just killed.
That would be our 80s ninja movie where like you have the accountant who's like, dude, you just killed 6 people.
Do you have any idea what that cost?
The recruitment value alone was
Oh my
this much for
gosh.
them.
Because you could totally do that too, because that's another 80s movie trope where it's always like the bad guys are always like killing their own dudes for being insubordinate or
Yeah.
just like for like minor fuck ups. They're just constantly getting shot left and right, having their neck snapped. I love the idea of having like the bad guy layers bean counter come like some little nerd with glasses and a clipboard, like, oh my god, that cost $250 million to train that guy.
Yeah, I would laugh. So sign me up for that.
Oh, that would be great.
But yeah, so and then we get back to the military base, and there's gonna be a fight between Dudikoff and Jackson now. Jackson is a somewhat of a martial artist himself, and he picks a fight with Dudikoff, and they kind of go at it, and it's probably the lamest fucking fight. It's just a lot of flipping Jackson over and over again.
Yeah, like really simple judo or taekwondo moves where he just kind of like uses his weight against him and flips him over a couple times until he just kind of gives up.
Until it just kind of ends.
Just kind of ends. So here's question number 2 for you, Phil, is how much trouble would you get in if you start a fight with someone on base on purpose?
If it does not matter if you and me were in the military and we both went, hey, Greg, let's fight each other for fun.
For fun. Hey, everyone, gather around.
Knowing that we both consent to it, our asses would be handed to us so hard. It would be insane.
I had a feeling, yeah.
I mean, when I was in tech school, there were people who would go out to the beach and just kind of like wrestle around on the beach because that's what you do when you're full of testosterone and ignorance. And I remember some dude got his arm fucking busted and no one would cop up to it. And essentially the hammer came down on 20 people. They're like, okay, since no one wants to confess,
everyone who's there,
all of you are in trouble now.
Yep.
So like people were digging up ditches and filling them back in. They got manual labor for like 2 weekends. It was insane.
Yikes. And that's like just wrestling, like not angrily, like
that's just
like kind of having fun. And it was off base, I'm assuming too.
Off base, just having fun.
Can you imagine? Like, I can only imagine the level of shit you'd be in for doing it on base, like in uniform.
Oh yeah,
on duty, right?
I couldn't imagine the shitstorm that would come down on someone for having a fight. It would be
a little
insane.
Like Fight Club, yeah.
It would be awesome. Another little bit of trivia here. Steve James and Michael Dudikoff didn't really get along with each other because Steve James knew martial arts and Dudikoff didn't. And during this fight scene that they had, essentially Dudikoff was like, can you get someone else to do it? Because I don't want to be shown up. And Steve James was, I guess he was like, why don't I stand on the other side of this army base and then I'll fight you over there to not make you look bad. So I guess like he was just kind of giving him shit. He was like, it doesn't matter what we do. You're going to look bad standing next to me.
Oh my God. That's so great. It gives me so much more respect for Jackson, the actor that played him. That's awesome.
And the fight ends in like the lamest way. Dudikoff puts a bucket over his head and he's allowing James to strike him with like a pole, and somehow using the force, Dudikoff grabs the pole mid-swing and then dispatches James. It's so lame.
Yeah, in retrospect, I should have known because we get a lot of weird, like pseudo supernatural shit towards the end.
Yep.
That's kind of what that felt like here, though. We're like, I don't care how much of like a martial arts master you are, you're not going to hear or sense that coming through vibrations in the air or some shit. Like you can't see, you're going to get hit.
100%. But after the fight's over, Dudikoff and James, they have a mutual respect for each other. And James
Ugh.
starts standing up for Dudikoff. But it doesn't matter because
Yeah,
once the master sergeant comes up, he's like, Dudikoff, your ass is grass. And
as
Dudikoff
it should be.
gets more like shit details, like emptying out trash and whatnot.
We have to talk about those trash cans because, like, in the next scene, we see him emptying them. Like, yeah, as part of that punishment duty. There are so many trash cans on
Oh,
this
yeah.
base. There's like 8 in 50 feet as the camera pans across the base.
It's
It's
insane.
there's yeah, tons of trash, I guess.
The only thing I could excuse it for, it looks like it's next to an auto bay. So I could see maybe like there's a high generation of trash in this area, but it definitely doesn't look well.
No, well, that's the thing though. Like when you see him emptying them, they're all practically empty.
Yeah,
He's just turning them over into nothing.
he's got an easy
Uh,
job.
yeah, I guess so.
But as he's emptying out the trash, we see the colonel's daughter again, and Dudikoff and the daughter exchange longing glances at each other, as the daughter is going to be escorted off base again somewhere. I don't think it really matters where. Oh, I think she's going back home. She's going back to California because of the
Oh,
hijackers.
oh, okay. So they were trying to go to the airport?
Yeah.
I must have missed that. Okay.
Which is kind of weird that the military base doesn't have its own airport in order to get them on and off base.
Yeah. Especially if it's like this is like a hostile country where there's like guerrilla forces right outside the gate ready to hijack your motorcade.
Yeah, kind of weird.
What do I know? I'm just a civilian.
But the colonel's daughter has other plans, and she gets her escort to go back to base and gets Dudikoff to meet up with her. But Dudikoff he's been sentenced to stay on base. How could he possibly escape? By using Steve James's motorcycle and going up a ramp.
Why does he know that? I don't. If he's I'll accept he's a ninja master. Whatever, fine. Is that standard like ninja training? Is jumping motorcycles over base walls?
I think that's day 2.
Oh, that's day 2.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking like the day 1, the easy stuff,
Yeah.
which is like all of the martial arts, and then day 2 is motorcycle jumping.
Exactly. Day 1, learn all martial arts. Day 2,
learn ninjutsu.
Day
Day 2, looking like a douchebag jumping a motorcycle
exactly
over a concrete wall. Oh my god! And we got like that poor. We got to talk about the stunt guy who actually did that.
It looked like it hurt.
It looked really painful because they show it like slow motion landing, and it looks like this poor stunt guy smacked his face on like the little windscreen.
Yes.
Oh, that poor guy.
It looked like he ate shit for
Yeah.
a really shitty movie.
And I mean, I guess it explains why they kept that in because it probably hurt the stunt guy so much they didn't do it again. So we just got the one where it looked really painful in the movie.
He's like, that's it. One and done. Never fucking doing this
Never again.
Again.
Oh, poor guy.
As Dudikoff meets up with the colonel's daughter is standing in front of the shittiest still photo of background scenery I've ever seen. She's standing in front of a picture of like the bay, but the water's not moving. There's a boat that never moves. The trees don't move, so there's no breeze.
How did I not notice that? It wasn't a blue screen. Was it just like a matte painting behind her or something?
I don't even think it's a matte painting. I think it's just like
a photo that they blew up way too big.
It pretty much. It's so shitty.
I got to go back and look at that now. I don't know how I missed it. The boat not moving though, that's choice.
We get like a rejected ripoff of Top Gun as Dudikoff and the girl are on the motorcycle seeing all the highlights of Philippines, and it's probably supposed to elicit Top Gun feeling because Tom Cruise is iconic for being on that motorcycle and going around Florida, I think it is, in that movie, or maybe California.
Sure, yeah.
This is just like the cheaper version of it. The shots aren't that amazing. The locations aren't that great, and the music again sucks.
Yeah, it's like cheap ripoff of that like Berlin song or whatever the.
Yeah, I think it's Berlin.
Is it Berlin? Yeah,
Take My Breath Away.
Yeah, Take My Breath Away. Thank you. Like, yeah, it's like the dollar store ripoff of that one. but like in these two have no chemistry either. Like the romance doesn't fit, so it just makes this whole scene really awkward. And
You're
I
right. They don't have
and they're not wearing
chemistry.
helmets.
Okay, yes. Mr. Safety Man. They aren't wearing
Yes,
helmets and they don't have chemistry.
most importantly.
Each actor, when they auditioned for their roles, auditioned with a different female or male lead. So Dudikoff auditioned with a different female. Uh, I already forgot her name. Auditioned with a different male lead. And then they both got their respective parts without having an audition with each other to ensure
Ugh.
that they had chemistry.
Like to make this whole like romance subplot work. Yeah, you'd think that they would do some kind of like script reads or screen test or something with them to see if that works, but
Nope,
it's canon. Whatever.
that's canon.
That's canon.
As Dudikoff and the Colonel's daughter sit down to have a nice romantic dinner, they notice across the room it's the evil bad guy and the master sergeant. They're in cahoots with each other.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the evil bad guy is like, I thought you said that you were going to kill him. And he was like, oh, I had him restricted to base. Looks like that didn't really work out there for you.
So, question number 3, Phil. If you were confined to base and you ditched and you just like you snuck out to go on a date, how much shit would you be in?
You would be arrested almost immediately. There would never be a moment where like the master sergeant goes, we'll let them have this date and then we'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but when I was stationed in South Dakota, there was a guy, he went AWOL. That's away without leave. Essentially, he took vacation without telling anyone.
Yikes.
I say vacation very liberally. He disappeared for months. He was gone before I got to that base, and people just kind of talked about him like a mystery, right?
Where
Like
did so and so end up?
exactly. Whatever happened to Airman Blank? One day, we're in formation to do PT. And in walks a guy I've never seen before. And I kind of made casual comment. I was like, hey, is this a new guy who got stationed here? And the room kind of goes silent. And they're like, oh my God, it's him.
It's Airman Blank.
Exactly. And he was talking like nothing ever happened. He was like, yeah, I went to Australia. I got married. I'm married to an Australian woman now. It's really great. I'm back. Blah, blah, blah.
What?
Yeah.
Not only did he go AWOL for however many months it was, he married a foreigner.
Yeah. And then you just see the commotion of like the first sergeant and the commander. They're like on their phones, like they're talking. There's very stern, hushed tones. We are like at parade rest, which
is watching this shit unfold.
Yeah, which means like we're stuck in a relaxed formation. We're not supposed to move, but you can kind of like shift and pivot if your like knees are hurting and shit like that. And then in come the cops and they arrest him, and the guy's like, what's going on? Like, why am I being arrested?
You idiot.
And
oh my God.
We didn't have PT that day. It was really great. But
I was like, nope, you got to skip PT and you got to watch this shit show.
Yeah. So roundabout way of saying that will never happen.
So, well, I asked how much shit you'd be in. That's how much shit you'd be in.
We had one guy in tech training. I don't know what he did, but he was essentially like locked to base. And for him, he was actually locked in a room. I kid you not, Greg. There was a guy, we called him the Phantom of the Dorm. He was locked in a room. Someone would come around, breakfast, lunch, dinner, take him out, get food, but then he would take his food immediately back to the dorm and eat inside of there. I don't know what he did, but
that's so weird.
That was his punishment. So, and at night, despite the fact that he was locked in his room, one of like the NCOs would have to come around and do a head count on him. Essentially, they would like open up the dorm, go inside, and go like, okay, you're here.
Make sure he hasn't snuck over the wall on the motorcycle.
Close the door, lock it again, and then leave.
That's so weird. Yeah, like that's what I imagine. Like a guy who did something bad today. He was like in so much shit. He was locked in his room day and night for however long it was.
Yeah,
Imagining someone in that situation escaping to go on a date.
it would be insane.
The shitstorm would be epic.
When
Wow.
our base was in Japan was locked down due to too many alcohol related incidents off base
Oh no.
that involved Japanese people. We were restricted from drinking, and we were restricted from going off base at certain points. And if we would have this thing called town patrol, where a bunch of like colonels and stuff like that would go off base and walk around Misawa and look for Americans. And like if they caught
like
you,
round up the troublemakers, basically.
if they caught you off base past curfew, yeah, you were fucking toast.
Oh my god.
Toast.
So listeners, you're hearing all these stories. Just imagine how much bullshit an American ninja is by comparison.
And this is like the 80s military. This is probably still the time where like they punched you, I would assume, because I mean, it's a lot different nowadays. I would assume like
the corporal punishment is probably frowned upon, but wasn't then.
oh yeah, because we can record it, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't have a camera in your pocket.
Listen, Dudikoff, you need an attitude adjustment.
Oh yeah, he'd probably get beat severely.
Oh my god.
But he shows back up and he drops the colonel's daughter off, and they kiss, and everything is right with the world until the next day. When the now evil master sergeant is yelling at Dudikoff, and everyone has to go to the motor pool. They're all doing their job. They're all, I don't know, wrenching jeeps and oiling lubes and stuff.
Did you say oil and lube?
Yeah, they're doing stuff. But it's a trap. There's ninjas inside of the motor pool, and they're all attacking Dudikoff, and he dispatches them with relative ease.
Yeah, like this is the scene that really made me see how bad he was at the martial arts, because he just looks so sloppy, even compared to these like ninja extras that they had, who I'm sure were much better trained than he was. I think like the only exciting thing in this whole action scene was I think there's one kind of impressive like high fall stunt.
Yes.
Like one of the ninjas like gets a ninja star in the face or something and he falls off the rafters. That was kind of cool. Otherwise it was slow and boring.
It's video game fighting. Everyone comes at Dudikoff one by one. They don't attack as a unit.
And they get dispatched one by one.
Yes. And because of that, they all get dispatched pretty easily.
Snooze.
Exactly. But they get one, unbeknownst to Dudikoff at the time, there's other evil bad guys, and they're stealing one of the army trucks. And then Dudikoff gets on a motorcycle, and thus ensues a chase of sorts, I guess. It's a really lame chase.
Yeah, it was like it looked like it was like a dock, like a pier, like a commercial pier. The only thing I thought was kind of funny was when Dudikoff's on the motorcycle next to the truck runs through like a bunch of vendor stands, and all of the vendor stands have like these giant jars of like colored liquid.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
Like, are they like Kool-Aid vendors? Like, what the hell was that?
I'm assuming it's just when they crash through them, it looks neat.
They just wanted something that looked cool when they did the slow-mo shot.
Yeah.
Oh, like you're probably right. That's probably literally all it was. Like, I don't know what the hell else it would be otherwise.
Dudikoff gets hit on his motorcycle, and he scuttles underneath the moving truck. And he's like hanging on metal because there's just, I guess, extra metal underneath a moving vehicle that you can just hold on to and brace yourself.
He's hanging onto the drive shaft as it's spinning.
That would be awesome. He's going like 3,000 revolutions per minute.
My hands.
Oh my god, that would be great. That'd be such a great like airplane style gag.
He turns into a dummy and starts spinning around real fast underneath.
Oh my god. But because he's underneath the truck, he successfully infiltrates the evil ninja clan organization. And at one point, there's just like ninjas casually standing outside in the open daylight air, just like doing nothing.
In the hot sun of the Philippines, which those poor extras in those black ninja outfits. I'm sorry, you must have been so hot.
Uh, but Dudikoff, he gets a gun, he shoots someone, and alerts a bunch of ninjas back into like this warehouse building, and they're all searching for him. But Dudikoff definitely escapes into the wilderness,
I
even
want
though
to.
like 30 people are shooting at him.
Oh yeah, he's dodging bullets left and right. He's like Neo moves somehow.
It's amazing. Uh,
One of the things I want to mention before we get too far away from this warehouse is we get a nice shot of Chekhov's rocket launcher
oh yes,
in the back of the truck. The head honcho guy comes up and looks at the merchandise, and this was like the big asset that he needs for an upcoming deal. And as soon as you see this giant like high tech rocket launcher, you know that that's the shit that's going to kill the bad guy in the end. It's got to go off. I called it in my notes, and spoilers, it delivered.
it does deliver.
We'll talk in more detail about that when it happens, but just thought I'd throw that out there.
As Dudikoff is dodging bullets, the Japanese guy from earlier comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Hey, dude, follow me into the jungle." And Dudikoff's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And
He could have been a plant. He could have been a bad guy. You don't know, idiot. Why would you follow him?
it's insanity. We cut back to the military base. Jackson is standing up for Dudikoff for some reason, and they're all like, "Hey, man, he went AWOL. We're gonna hammer Dudikoff's ass to the wall when he gets back." Blah blah blah. And Jackson's just kind of like, oh, "Okay." It's like the only believable military thing where like the superior is telling Jackson there's nothing you can do, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right."
He like gasp. He accepts his superior's
Yeah,
decision on something. What a remarkable thing for a canon movie.
it is 100% weird. We eventually get back to Dudikoff and the Japanese guy, and we find out that the Japanese guy is Dudikoff's dad, his adopted dad.
Yeah, he found Michael Dudikoff in like the woods or something.
He's
I
like
don't.
a
Did they? He's like an orphan. Did they explain how he got to the Philippines?
I don't know. I gotta tell you, I was losing it at points when they were going through the explanation because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. How did you're just telling me that that this Japanese guy who happened to adopt Dudikoff is also working for the evil bad guy Overlord on the same island that Dudikoff is stationed
Stationed
at?
on?
It like
Yeah,
the leaps of logic to get there are so expansive, it's impossible for them to reach.
yeah. It definitely not even close to believable. I mean, I guess the one thing I did kind of like was the fact that the kind of this like surprise sensei character, what he's kind of at the gardener for the bad guy, and like that's always how you like when you read about ninjas, like they were always like the guys who would hide in plain sight as gardeners or custodial people, groundskeepers. Like they would hide in plain sight, like, oh, I'm just a simple like laborer, but they're actually trained assassins.
And that
I kind of like that.
I would buy that. I would buy more that the old Japanese guy was just like part of the ninja group that Dudikoff studied at. But for him to be the adopted dad of Dudikoff
Yeah.
is so it's so absurd and it's so out there.
Because they wrote themselves into a box saying like, oh, like there's no way a Westerner would be taught like ninjutsu because that teacher would be killed. Like they wanted to have that be an element of this, but then they had to figure out like, well, okay, well, how did he get trained?
It,
And they had to come up with this crazy story of like like an American kid getting abandoned on an Asian island, and the Japanese guy trained him and adopted him.
it's definitely out there. Um And if the one twist wasn't enough, how about another one? Uh, Jackson, the colonel's daughter, uh, and Dudikoff all confront the colonel, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, that master sergeant over there is working with this bad guy over there, and we need to do something about it." And it turns out that the colonel is also working with the bad guy.
Dun, dun,
I was
dun.
so fucking confused when that happened.
I actually, yeah. So he calls someone. He's like, "Oh, yep, it's all in motion. We're gonna get to the bottom of this." And they think that he believed, like, they think that the colonel believed him. And then the evil sergeant shows up, and they're like, they take him away. I thought that he might still not be in on it. Like, the colonel was just like disciplining them, but didn't think that the sergeant was still in on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
There's still
yeah.
a little bit of doubt there.
But no, it turns out that
Oh yeah,
he's in cahoots with the bad guy
yep,
after
100%.
and I just don't get it, because that means that the master sergeant and the colonel work with each other with the bad guy, but there's moments where the colonel and the master sergeant have private conversations with each other in which, besides us, the audience seeing them, no one else would, and they talk about the bad guy as if he is a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they're talking about him like one of them isn't in cahoots with him.
yeah.
They're like putting on that front, like, oh, he's a bad guy, he's not to be trusted.
But if
But
me and
like,
you were aligned with someone and we were in a room with just me and you, there's no way our conversation would be like, man, it would be really weird if someone like worked with this bad guy over there. Or we would
he's
be,
an evil jerk.
yeah, we would be like, hey, man, I work for Blofeld too. Yeah, me too. Okay. Like,
Yeah,
Hail
we
Hydra.
wouldn't be exactly. We wouldn't be putting on that facade of, oh yeah, he's evil. Like, we both know we're in cahoots with the bad guy. There's no need to fake it.
So weird.
I don't get it.
And you think that they would come up with a better way of stealing government assets instead of just having this very contrived, like, hijack these trucks.
Very, very public displays of violence and hijacking. You think
Generally,
that they would just sneak them out
yeah.
crate by crate at night or something like that?
I'm not even by, I don't even think they would have to, it would just be kind of like, hey, we've teamed up with a third party to ship our containers, blah, 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 right? And then they just get lost in transit.
Yeah. The colonel is high up enough, you would think that he could kind of force that through and no one would ask questions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's probably multiple instances of military assets being stolen from within the chain line, and like they only find out because of greed, right? Someone eventually wants more than what they're getting. But anyways,
Yeah, and someone rats on someone.
we're writing a better movie, and we don't need to do that. We just need to talk about the movie that we're watching. But don't worry, it's almost over, because
Hooray.
I started looking at the timer, especially when we got to the end. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, there's 15 minutes left. There's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to do. And I know they're not going to do it all. There's no way that they can.
This reveal that the colonel is also in cahoots with the arms dealer. That happens at like the 15, like in the last 15 minutes. It's way too late to have that kind of revelation.
Yeah.
Because we still need to have the hero needs to realize he has what it takes. We need to have the final battle, and we need to have like the follow-up, the resolution, that everything's okay, okay, conclusion. Like, we need to have all that for a proper story to structure itself.
Exactly.
And we've got 15 minutes left to do it.
There's just not enough time. But what we do have time for is ultimate ninja action, because Dudikoff is now in full ninja garb. And the first arrow that he shoots at the bad guy is such a fucking limp noodle. It doesn't, the arrowhead barely strikes the ground. It kind of just plops right in front of them, almost as if it's a warning shot. It's so fucking lame.
I like the idea of him meaning for it to be a kill shot, then falling to, oh yeah, that was a warning. Yep.
But what surmises this movie even better is he shoots another arrow, the black ninja star master grabs the arrow midair and breaks it, and Dudikoff has a fucking temper tantrum and snaps his bow over his knee.
Why did he do that? He did.
Yeah.
Was it? I think having a temper tantrum is a good way to put it. He got my arrow. I'm going home.
And then he just does like a full frontal assault, very stiff, with Sai, like the weapon that Raphael has from Ninja Turtles.
Perfect. Yep.
He looks like a douchebag, like a total fucking douchebag doing this.
Like, I mean, I'm no martial arts expert. If I had said I knew the right way to hold Sai or use them, I would be lying. But I just know that he looked really awkward using those weapons.
Yes.
I don't know why. It just looked unnatural.
And then to your comment earlier about how things just magically start happening, or magic starts to happen.
Yep.
A plume of smoke appears out of nowhere, and then Dudikoff's ninja master dad shows up out of thin air.
He fucking Scotty beat me in to this scene in the middle, what's his name? Dudikoff gets like surrounded by the bad ninjas, and we get like a little poof of smoke, and then he just materializes out of thin air behind him, and they can do like a tag team battle against these guys. And that's just like the tip of this unnatural iceberg.
Yes. And then as they're fighting, they're actually doing a pretty good job dispatching all the ninjas. When I say they're doing a good job dispatching the ninjas, I just mean that they're killing them. They don't look particularly good doing it.
No.
At one point, his ninja master puts his hands together and concentrates and disappears into thin air. We actually hear like a disappearing sound effect. The whoosh.
Yeah, like so before, when he did the little smoke bomb trick, we don't actually see him materialize out of thin air. Like, it just, he's not there, poof, and then he's there. It's like all camera cuts. This time we literally see, without cutting the camera away, he just fades out entirely. We've gone full magic.
And
ladies and gentlemen,
he rematerializes in front of Dudikoff and takes like a ninja knife to the chest and dies.
That's right, because he was like, he saw the Black Star Ninja was throwing something at him, and in order to kind of like take the knife for him, he rematerialized in the way.
But don't worry, as he dies, the U.S. Army comes in.
Woo!
Jackson has like an M16. He's just mowing people down. It's
it really
great.
Is.
This is the movie that I want to see. I want to see this movie where the Americans are coming in screaming, going like "Yo, Joe," and they're just fucking ripping apart ninjas. Right?
Like we suddenly get, after we see this guy turn invisible, we get like ripped back into reality where like the guys with guns actually are overpowering the people with, medieval weaponry, as they should.
It's hilarious. It's kind of like that scene in The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, where like all the samurai show up to have a fight, and they just bring out like a Gatling gun and they just start mowing all the samurai down.
and then the Gatling guys just look real sad doing it.
They're like, this is too easy. You got like, I forgot what Simpsons character it is, but he's like, stop, he's dead.
Oh, the little kid, when Homer's crusty.
Yeah.
No, he's already dead.
But yeah, they're just mowing everyone down, and this scene goes on for quite a bit, but then we do get the final confrontation between Ninja Star Master and Dudikoff. It looks, I don't know why they obviously have Dudikoff doing this, because the action is so poor. Like, you can't see Dudikoff. Why have him do this?
Yeah, having him all in the kind of the ninja mask and everything, that's a perfect excuse to put in someone with actual martial arts talent to fight the Black Star Ninja, who that actor clearly does know what he's doing. And you could have had a cool little kung fu scene here, but no.
Instead, we have a really lame fight between the Ninja Star Master and Dudikoff, and everything that Jackson is doing, all like the hand-to-hand combat that he's doing, is infinitely better. He's having like a fist fight with someone.
Oh yeah, the strong man guy he fights.
At one point, Jackson gives him a testicular torsion. He grabs this dude's nuts and fucking twists.
It looks so brutal.
It does.
It looks way more brutal than any of that ninja stuff we've seen so far.
If you do get a testicular torsion, you need to have it looked at within a matter of hours, else the blood flow to your testicles will stop and you will lose them, and you will not be able to keep them. They will have to surgically remove them. Just an FYI for everyone out there, guys.
Bye bye gonads.
If you feel any pain in your lower region, it might be a torsion, and you should go to a doctor immediately.
If you get into a fight with like a weird army guy and he rips your balls,
he gives you the old nut twist.
Gives you the old nut twist. You should probably see a medical professional.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, and the scene just keeps going on and on with Jackson just fucking easily killing people. Dudikoff is literally focused on killing one person, and he can't do it. But Jackson is murdering people like it's his middle name. Like,
yeah, like the same ninjas that what's his face was having trouble with. He's just in here like left to right, no problem.
Jackson is literally breathing death. At one point, there's a couple bad guys that are with the main bad guy, and they're like, "Hey, man, we need to get the fuck out of here." And the main bad guy just shoots him out of nowhere and kills him. It's great.
Oh yeah, because like these are the guys that he's trying to do the deal with, and they're like, "Yeah, this is too much heat for us. We're getting out of here." And they like try to take the money with them. So hey, he just shoots him in the back and takes the suitcase full of money.
Yeah. So eventually we get back to Dudikoff and the Ninja Star Master. They're fighting on the rooftop, and they are like using a lot of different ninja techniques, I guess, in quotes, ninja techniques. Like they're throwing ninja stars, there's ninja dust, there's ninja knives. It's the whole gamut of crap.
Those what are those claw things called that they have in their palms for climbing?
For climbing, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they have, like cat claws or something. Yeah, those they use those a little bit too. I think the Black Star Ninja actually like throws his like a knife.
Yes.
And they like stick into a concrete wall when he dodges them. That was kind of cool.
And the Black Star Ninja out of nowhere uses a red laser.
Oh my god, I'm speechless. Like let me read like in my notes here in all caps. I was like, what was that? A goddamn ninja laser? Why hasn't he been using that the whole time?
What were you more shocked about? When Hercules turned into a laser animal, or when the Black Star Ninja uses a laser to try to kill Dudikoff?
The ninja laser, hands down. I practically fell out of my chair. I was like, what is happening? Since when is lasers part of a ninja's arsenal? And again, like when he uses it, it's like a Star Trek phaser. It just like vaporizes this like potted plant he aims it at. Why hasn't he been using that the whole time? He could be like vaporizing these army guys left and right from the comfort of the roof or like a hidden spot. What?
It's one of those weird things where I bet they were writing it and they're just like, a laser would be cool at this point.
Oh my god!
It's kind of like, I guess, Star Wars. Why doesn't R2-D2 use his jetpack in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9?
There's no reason, but I mean, we just saw another guy materialize, like beam in and out of a scene. So fuck it, whatever.
Exactly.
Lasers, sure. I'm on board.
They started doing crank. They're just like, and then he fucking disappears, and then he's got a laser. But yeah, so Dudikoff and the Black Star Ninja are now doing a fight inside of I almost said pond. It's a fountain. And Dudikoff wins because obviously he's the hero, but there's no way in hell he should have won. And then the bad guy and the colonel's daughter are in a helicopter. They're about to fly away, but Dudikoff jumps on and he's hanging on for dear life as he fights the bad guy, but not really. It's not like a real fight. It's kind of, I don't know. It's very unsatisfying.
It's like the evil arms dealer guy's like trying to like kick his arm, so like he loses his grip on the helicopter and falls. I think that's what's happening. Or does he have a gun? Is he shooting at him? Yeah,
he's kind of shooting at him too.
Okay.
It's a wholly unrealized, unsatisfying ending to the film because Dudikoff eventually grabs a hold of the colonel's daughter. They jump out of the helicopter, and then Jackson pulls out the bazooka,
Oh yeah,
which
here it
looks
comes.
badass.
Oh
Jackson
yeah.
is fucking flexing. He looks like a Greek god.
Oh yeah. We should note that he has, in true 80s action movie fashion, somehow found a way to lose his shirt during this whole action
Oh
scene.
yeah,
And he's all like greased up for some reason too.
the dude looks awesome. And then he shoots the bazooka, blows everyone up. Dudikoff is standing on top of the roof of the house, wind sweeping through his douchebag hair, and then the credits roll.
And
So,
that's it.
does the Colonel ever? Maybe we missed it. I don't know. Does the Colonel ever get his comeuppance?
He dies, remember?
Does he?
Yeah, when he's part of this, we don't see him until the very end of the scene, but he's part of this like rescue brigade that Jackson comes rolling in on, and he confronts the arms dealer when he's got like a gun. He's like using his daughter as
Dude,
like a
I
human
thought that was a
shield.
totally different character.
That's the colonel. He like, I guess he like came to his senses, and he gets. I think he like, when he's like backing her towards the helicopter, he lunges at them to try and to rescue her, and he takes a bullet to the gut,
He
and
looks
he looks like he dies. Yeah,
he looks totally different.
it's because he's not wearing that stupid like bolo tie and cowboy hat.
He looks so different. I thought that was someone else. I just thought they forgot to write about him anymore. He looked like a totally different character. You can't
Yeah,
have your character wear like two costumes throughout the entire film and then show up at the end with a totally unrecognizable costume because he's
yep,
wearing a hat and everything.
yeah, because he's like he's out of uniform through most of the movie, because we see a lot of his scenes are like where he's like at his own house, so he's like a casual shirts on. We don't see him in uniform until like in the very beginning and then the very end. So we've forgotten what this guy looks like practically with a hat on. I
Wow.
barely spotted it myself, but yeah, he did.
That would be like Batman showing up at the end of the movie wearing something other than the Batman costume, right? And then everyone going like, "Who the fuck is this?" And he's like, "Hey, I'm Batman." I'm like, dude, you what?
Are you?
Yeah, are you? Like, what is going on here? Um,
Yeah.
that's American Ninja. It is a half star.
Oh wow, you pulled no punches on this movie.
None.
Half star. What was the half star for? Like
The
beyond a zero.
the Colonel's daughter is very pretty. And
So
and
there's some eye
and
candy.
Steve James, he's badass in this movie, but everything else is so bad that I can't build the movie up more for Steve James being so badass, because everything else in the movie is so bad it brings everything down.
Yeah, I gave it 1 star but basically for similar reasons. Like the acting was terrible. All the martial arts was mostly terrible, aside from Jackson and the Black Star Ninja. They were kind of fun to watch do their thing, but there were a couple of cool stunts here and there. Otherwise I just found it annoying. I mean, like, I think we had a good time talking about it here because it's so bad, which
Yes.
I guess we have to give a little credit for. Like, this is the kind of canon movie we do this podcast for, but it's bad. Like, it's objectively worse than any of the previous 3 ninja movies we've watched.
Why not have it called American Ninja, but have like Sho Kisuji be the American Ninja, right? Like, why couldn't you could almost keep the entire plot the same, right? But Sho Kisuji is, a Japanese guy. He comes from Japan. He wants to be an American. He thinks that, the best way to become an American is to join the army. He joins the army. He has ninja skills, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I could totally believe that, because in that scenario you could do that thing where like he joins the army and everyone's really skeptical and they all kind of like make fun of him and he's a hard time fitting in. But then he like wins them over because he like shows off his skills, and he like they need his skills to win the day, and he like earns the respect of his army buddies and
And
teaches them a little bit of stuff.
Jackson and him, they can like they can understand each other's plots because Jackson is an African American guy in the 80s, probably deals with a lot of racism. Sho Kasuji is also a fish out of water, probably is dealing with a lot of racism as well. So they have like a bonding experience there.
Yeah, you
He's
could write great scenes with that.
um but no, like it's just when I said in the beginning, if the script was more than 5 pages, I'd shit myself. You cannot tell me that this thing is more than 5 pages. It's just some guy who's just like, okay, Michael Dudikoff doesn't talk for like 85% of the movie.
Yep.
It's really just the same feedback loop of they attempt to steal something, it fails. They attempt to steal something, it succeeded. They attempt to sell the thing that they stole, it fails. Like it's so cliche.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're definitely right, because going back to one of the things I said before, where it feels like a TV show, this does feel like an episode of an Army Guy TV show that they stretched out to 90 minutes. So it could very well have been maybe not 5 pages, but like something way less than what you would need for a feature film.
At least 6.
At least pants shitting averted.
It's I don't know. It's so bad. The budget for the film was $1 million. $1 million.
How does that how does that measure up to some of the other ninja movies or the other action movies we've seen? Is that sounds low?
That is extremely low.
Yeah.
I think this is like one of the first ones where like I looked at the budget and I was like, that's shockingly small, even for Canon to invest in, because I want to say like Breakin' was at least like a $5 million movie to make it, and that's just dancing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get how all of these people are involved in this movie and
that was their
and
budget.
that's the budget. Like, what is Dudikoff's paycheck for this?
A case of beer and firm handshake.
It almost has to be something. Let's take a look here. American Ninja, just in the Wikipedia thing here, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people listed in the credits, right? But the entire budget can't go to them. They must be making like, I wouldn't even say like maybe $100,000. Maybe.
No way. Like 20K. Because I mean, as cheap as that budget was, we still got 2 or 3 explosions, like big explosions of cars and things. And they're clearly old trucks, but that's not cheap. I mean, there were some expensive set pieces here that had to have been at least half of the budget.
So that how did fucking actors in the 80s, especially like straight to video, not even because this is theatrical, how did they survive?
How did Canon actors? Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. Yeah, I think I'm sure there's a big part of the equation that we're missing, but to the layman like us, it seems odd.
If you got paid $20,000 to do this movie, in American Ninja came out in 1985, and let's say you came up and you're the guy, right? We won't even say $20,000. We'll say that you got paid $50,000 for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's $127,000 in today's money. And I would say like a movie takes, there's no information on it. I would say this probably took them a month or 2 to make, right?
Yeah, probably that sounds about like a 60-day shoot. Sounds about right.
So I guess if you do that and you have these actors are probably like walled up back to back. I guess if you do 8 movies a year, I don't know. It just seems almost like that seems exhausting. But $127,000 for one film, that
and there's no way he was getting that. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking out of my depth here. I have no idea what these people make or what's normal, but it's something about the math of about that budget doesn't add up.
It doesn't. There has to be some like back end shady fucking deal going on somewhere to get
actual arms dealers
yeah,
finance this movie.
It's so weird. Another weird thing, it's a canon film. I'm not saying that I'm upset by it. There is no sexual assault. There is no nudity. The movie is rated R, but it doesn't capitalize on the violence.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I forgot to mention that too. Yeah, it's normally, yeah, you would think that we've seen some sleazy shit from canon so far. You'd think that we would at least get either one or the other, really like grotesque violence, like beheadings and things like that, or like shameful, gratuitous nudity.
Yeah,
One or the other, or both in an R-rated film. But yeah, that's actually kind of weird. I didn't realize this is R-rated. It's not very violent, or there's no nudity. What was it?
it's for
Language,
violence.
maybe?
I don't even think
Really?
language. It's not like they said fuck or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of a case where they did. But I maybe we're just so desensitized to like the hyper realistic violence we get in current movies that this seems tame by comparison. I don't know.
I don't know. Michael Dudikoff said that he suffered from malaria at the end of the shoot.
Ugh, that sucks.
That's gotta blow. Not only do you suck at acting, but you got fucking malaria.
Yeah, malaria. That's why his action scenes. That's why the shot of him at the very end is just like looking at the camera, kind of sweaty. He was like he was at like the worst of the malaria. Then that's all he could do is just stand up and look at the camera.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Mike Stone was a special martial arts choreographer for the ninjas in this film, and he recommended Tadashi Yamashita to play the lead Black Star ninja villain, based on the two having known each other from their competitive martial arts backgrounds. But because of canon films being notoriously cheap with their budget, Mike Stone was then rehired to be the fight choreographer and main ninja villain in the sequel movie, American Ninja 2: The Confrontation, without again being allowed to recommend his other martial arts peers. So it just goes to show you, I think like I think maybe this is the moment where they started sweating and they're like, fuck, we're losing money. So we have to start trimming the fat to the point where they're cutting out the meat.
Yeah, because maybe I don't remember from our Ninja 3 episode how that did box office wise, but there's clearly like a lot of production value in that one, special effects, and I'm sure it was much more expensive. This, I think you're right. This was maybe the first like budget one, like, oh, like, you know, we lost our asses in the first Ninja trilogy. We got to cut some corners.
Yeah. There are 5 total.
Yeah, that's crazy.
American Ninja films. And Dudikoff is in 4 of them. Steve James is in 3 of them. So the movie again was released. It was $1 million budget. It made $10 million theatrically.
I guess it did a decent profit then.
Horrible, but again, like when you think about it, how much goes back to canon, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, was that, did you say that was straight like box office, or did that include like direct to video rentals and all that stuff?
Just the box office. So
Okay.
I would assume that a lot of these movies probably do gangbusters on the rental circuit, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
That's
yeah.
probably where a lot of Canon's money came from.
So you mentioned before I watched this one on YouTube, and I was kind of skimming through the comments, and a lot of people were saying that they had seen this on cable growing up, and so I had kind of like a nostalgic,
oh yeah,
flavor for them.
This is
USA
I totally
Channel. Believe it. Absolutely, yeah. This is Saturday afternoon action movie. They cut a little bit of the violent parts, and it's good to go.
Why don't you read your favorite comment by Flapjack McCoy?
Yeah, so we talked about our quote a week before about the confused colonel learning about ninjutsu. The runner-up for this quote of the week is the top YouTube comment on this video, which is choice. It's a guy, I forget the username. He said, I loved this movie back in '85 when it came out. I joined the army 5 years later. There were ninjas everywhere, and all the vehicles exploded when you hit a tree. Dangerous times. I'm surprised I got out alive.
I mean, that speaks of living in an 80s action film right there.
Yeah.
I love it.
That would be another great part of our like the movie that we've kind of wrote here is like all the other army guys are like just constantly terrified because everything explodes at like the drop of a hat, and there's ninjas everywhere.
A leaf falls on the truck and it like just explodes.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't want to be in the army anymore. It's scary.
So we've talked about ninjas, we've talked about the army. Let's talk about real life really quick. A ninja with a sword
Oh.
assailed a U.S. Army Special Operations unit in California. This article came out October 1st, 2021. So this literally just happened. It seems unlikely, but it indeed happened. A man, in quotes, wearing full ninja garb, attacked members of a U.S. Army Special Operations unit in the middle of the night in the California desert, setting up a scramble for safety and resulting in at least 2 injuries, according to the police and other records. The incident occurred a little after 1 a.m. on September 18th, when authorities in Ridgecrest, California, got word of a sword-wielding man dressed as a ninja on the loose at the in Yorokan Airport in Kern County, north of Los Angeles.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Isn't that insane?
Maybe this guy like just watched American Ninja. He's like, I could do that. And he tried to storm a base. I just imagining him like not even getting close to the wall and then just being like gunned down in the middle of in the middle of the desert.
And what is described by the staff sergeant who was smoking a late night cigarette near an airport hangar. He was approached by an unknown person wearing full ninja garb. The ninja asked, "Do you know who I am?" The sergeant said he didn't. "Do you know where my family is?" the man asked. When the sergeant said he did not know, the person in the ninja garb began to slash at him with a katana sword, the report states, adding to the sergeant's leg and phone were struck. The sergeant ran, jumped a fence, and reached a building where he was joined others from his company. As
Oh
he
my
and a captain
God.
locked the doors and called 911, the assailant kicked and punched the doors and windows, according to the report, which which has redacted the service members' names. So let that be, I guess, like let that be a note, because I think we've talked about other past movies that involved the military where you've
Yeah.
asked Phil, do you ever carry guns just around base? The answer is no. This dude was attacked by a ninja and had no way to protect himself because he's on a military base. You don't just carry guns.
Yeah. So, but that begs the question: how did he get on base to begin with?
So,
Did he like climb? Did it say he hopped the fence? I forget.
dude, I would tell you. Okay, I'll just say this. I think it would be incredibly easy for almost. I'll probably edit this out, but I'll tell you, it would probably be incredibly easy to get on a military base. While there are multiple entry control points on a
I guess you just
military
walk through the woods
base.
or something.
You can walk through the woods. Probably at points, they're just not even like, there's probably just a fence, just like a chain link fence that probably has a sign that says military installation, do not, cross.
Yeah, like restricted. Yeah, something like that. Wow.
Yeah.
So, but apparently apparently it was easy enough that this guy got on in what it looks like a crazy person costume, I'm sure, to these guys.
Police officers located the ninja suspect on a nearby road, but the man refused to follow commands and brandished the sword at deputies, the sheriff's office says.
Uh-oh.
Projectile rounds were used, but were ineffective. It added, he's a fucking ninja master.
Oh my God.
Instead, the man ran. When deputies used a taser on him, he dropped the sword. The deputies were able to take him into custody, and he was identified as Gino Rivera, age 35. Rivera was arrested for attempted homicide with assault with a deadly weapon, brandishing a weapon with the intent to resist or prevent an arrest, along with vandalism and obstructing or delaying a peace officer in the performance of their duties.
Did he actually take any round? Like, did he get shot?
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he just took a taser.
I choose to believe that he was just like so high on PCP or something that he like took a couple rounds to the limbs and was still coming at him.
Yeah. He broke the place that he went to was a place where Navy SEALs train. If this guy didn't get taken down by some yokel cop, that motherfucker would have been dropped by a Navy SEAL.
That would have been so satisfying.
But there you go. Ninjas do
crazy
exist.
This stuff and they're just as incompetent in real life as Michael Dudikoff in this movie.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's like the neckbeardiest thing I've ever heard.
It is. It's.
I've watched plenty of anime. I think I know what I'm doing.
Oh man, have you watched anything good recently?
Oh yeah. So as of the time of this recording, we just when it got into October. So you and me are both deep into our Halloween movie viewing schedule. So the first thing I wanted to mention, of course, is I'll take a step back. During Halloween this time this year, we're doing like a thing where we watch horror movies from different decades each week. So this first short week was just movies from the 60s and earlier. So on Saturday we watched Rosemary's Baby.
Nice.
I've got the Criterion release of it. I mean, there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said about Rosemary's Baby. It's practically like a perfect movie. Um, I mean, I think you know this probably. Like I like that subgenre, that like kind of like Catholic horror, like satanic panic kind of genre of horror. I really like that stuff. And it's easily the top of that subgenre for me. I think it just narrowly beats out The Exorcist in that category. But yeah, I mean, it's if you somehow are listening to this and you've not seen Rosemary's Baby yet, stop listening to this podcast right now and go watch it.
Yeah.
It's so good. And yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I probably watch it once a year at least, and I notice something new every time I watch it. Yeah, it's just great. What have you been watching, Phil?
I watched a lot. My wife recently got her tonsils out, so I spent a week at home, and I've watched a lot of shit.
I bet, yeah.
I watched 22 and 21 Jump Street. Both are really funny, boner type style comedies, but they're really funny.
I don't think I ever saw either of those two. I definitely remember hearing that 21 Jump Street were like definitely like better than a lot of modern comedies.
Definitely. I've watched a Linnea Quigley film called Deadly Embrace, where I would say if you added up the 80-minute runtime, 60 minutes of it is boobs. It was horrible. I watched another movie called Flesh Eating Mothers. It's another Vinegar Syndrome release. Weak on acting and budget, but the premise is essentially an STD that causes moms to want to eat their children.
Awesome.
Not horrible. I watched another Vinegar Syndrome movie called Blades, which is a Jaws spoof about a killer lawnmower on a golf course.
That's such a great premise.
It's awesome. Everyone needs to buy this movie. Everyone needs to buy this.
I think that was something you mentioned to me after you watched it.
Oh yeah,
I just be like because you mentioned the word spoof. I was like, I feel like a lot of those budget ones are usually really bad. Like the airplane formula. If it's not amazing, it's terrible. But I was really pleasantly surprised to hear that this one was good. So I'll definitely have to check it out.
For my Halloween movie watching experience, I started off with a WNUF Halloween special, which is always a fun treat.
Yeah.
I watched Spiral from the Book of Saw, which was horrible. Really great idea. No. It was a really great idea. The execution of it was balls.
Just garbage. That was the one with Chris Rock, right? Yep. Like he was like a producer or something, wasn't he?
He had a really good idea there. A lot of the issues with the movie was the traps that they put people in. While they are winnable, the amount of time that they gave people to do the thing was not enough time.
So what was the concept there? Was it like a prequel or something?
It's set in the world of Saw, and there is a copycat style killer who is specifically targeting the police because of reasons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that tracks. Hate the cops. Got it.
Exactly. I watched Critters.
Oh, a classic.
Yes, it's a banger. 4.5.
If you like Gremlins, you're gonna love Critters.
Exactly. And then I watched It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which have you ever seen? It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
No, I remember I saw you post about that on Instagram, but I've honestly I did not know that it even existed. I should have known that there were other Charlie Brown specials than the Christmas one, but I
Has your
had no
wife
idea.
Becky ever seen it?
I can ask her. I maybe she has. Was it like a TV thing back
Yes.
when we were kids? Okay,
Ask
so
her,
maybe she has. Yeah.
and then ask her if she remembers the scene with the Great Pumpkin.
Will she know it? If she's seen it, will she know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it depends on what universe she's from.
Okay. The Berenstein or the Berenstain Bears
Yes,
universe. Okay.
because I remember it, but Jackie doesn't. So, but
Huh.
yeah, I've watched quite a few movies this week, and then later today I'm gonna watch Tremors because it's Sunday, so it's Creature Feature Sunday, and I
Creature
got
Feature Sunday.
Tremors on 4K.
I was gonna say I think you and I have that same 4K release of Tremors. That's I haven't watched it. I watched it a couple months ago when I bought it, but that is another classic, and boy does it look great in 4K.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
You're in for a treat.
Tremors is always one of those series where I watch the first one and then I end up watching all seven
Oh
shitty
no.
sequels.
I remember talking about, speaking of like cable TV movies, I remember the second one being on TV quite a lot.
Yes.
Um I remember not hating that one because that was the one where they had like the land they're like little like velociraptor like monsters that would like they would like birth out of the
Yep.
graboids.
Shriekers. Yep.
Shrieker, yeah, and they were like heat seekers, right?
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
It wasn't
But then they sort of like
the,
they get like they fly in later ones too, don't
the
they?
third one, they become ass blasters. And then the fourth one. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 are all good movies on like a curve. But from 4 forward, it's complete garbage.
And you said there were I didn't even know. I think I probably if you had asked me before how many there were, I probably would have said 4, but you said there's 7.
I believe there's 7. Number 4 is Back to the Perfection. That's set in the Old West. Tremors 5 is where they introduced Jamie Kennedy into the series. He's Bert's long lost son. Tremors 6 is set in the Antarctic, but it's really set in like the desert. They just color graded all the sand to white. And the last one, Tremors Shrieker Island, is set on like a tropical island where they hunt tremors for sport. Yeah.
See the Antarctic one that kind of sounds cool. I like the idea of there being like a cold version of it that lives in Antarctica, and it's like it's got that kind of thing appeal where the crew is isolated from civilization. They got to kind of fend for themselves.
Yep.
That's a good idea. Yeah, you get that same isolation that you got with the town of Perfection in the first movie.
It's they're all pretty bad. All those out from 4 forward are pretty bad. Did you know there was a TV show too?
What?
In 2003, there was a Tremors TV show that aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. It starred Michael Gross as Bert, but it also had Dean Norris, who was from Breaking Bad. He's Ashak Schrader in that. He's like one of the lead characters. And I'm not kidding here. It also had Christopher Lloyd in it.
Oh, Christopher Lloyd. No,
Yeah.
not this.
Something to see, that's for sure. Tremors
So
TV show.
I'm assuming it got like canceled ASAP after the first season,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Or did it even get through the first season?
I think it made it through the first season. But yeah, it didn't make it past that.
Ugh.
And there is a unseen but fully produced and created Tremors pilot starring Kevin Bacon.
Well, what?
So
Like from the 90s?
No,
or
recently. Kevin Bacon recently starred in a unaired Tremors TV pilot trying to bring it back. Because he like wanted, I guess Kevin Bacon has looked at his past and has found that he looks fondly back at Tremors.
I
And so
mean, as he should.
he wanted to kind of bring it back. And so they made a TV show that he was going to star in, and it never got picked up.
That's what a hit to the ego.
There is a trailer for it out there that you should watch. It's actually pretty good. It's
I mean,
very it's very Logan-esque where they try to play it serious. You don't see like too much tongue-in-cheek action with it, but yeah.
see, yeah, I, I guess it could be good, but it's probably for the best that it didn't get picked up because I wouldn't want to see my boy Kevin Bacon done dirty like that with a bad TV show.
I would watch it. I'm all in. I will watch anything that has tremors in it. Correct. Sign me up.
One of these days, I'll do what you do and watch through the whole series just for, you know, like looking at a zoo exhibit. But
oh yeah, and
that's
going,
not this
what
day.
the fuck?
What were they thinking?
Yep. But yeah, did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up from what you've been watching?
No, that pretty much sums it up. I think we'll be watching something else from the 60s to, or maybe I think that we start with the 70s week this week. So I think we're going to be watching Carrie tonight.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm sure I'll have more to recap next week when we are in the thick of our Halloween schedule.
So now, Greg, we come to a crossroad of sorts. We've gotten up to American Ninja, and the next few films, while they were distributed by Canon, were not made by Canon, right?
Okay.
Like think of it, you make a film, you need a distributor, you give it to Canon, and they shit it out. The next one on the list is something called Hard Rock Zombies.
Oh no.
Okay, exactly. And I'm just gonna say this right up front. The film was originally realized to be a 20-minute short that they stretched out to be 98 minutes.
Oh, there's going to be so much like padding and shit in this.
And because you've never heard of it before, I can only find a VHS copy of it, which means that it looks like horse shit.
Oh boy.
Okay. Or we skip all of these canon, non-canon films, and we go to the next one on the list, which is Invasion USA, starring Chuck Norris. Directed by Joe Zito.
Okay. So here's my thoughts. I feel like we should give the also rans a fair shake before we jump back into another like pure canon action movie. So maybe we give Hard Rock Zombies a try, and if we're truly miserable, which I'm sure we will be, we can pitch the rest and go right to more Chuck Norris.
All right. So next film will be Hard Rock Zombies, which
oh my gosh,
I'm
already regretting it.
The tagline for this is: a freshly out of the grave band of hard rock zombies is thirsting to take their sweet revenge as they give the performance of a lifetime. Directed by Krishna Shah, who also made American Drive-In, which looks like this is a canon film potentially as well. I would almost be willing to bet that this is like a buddy of Golan and Globus.
Oh boy.
They probably have ties back to the Middle East film industry.
Oh so that's interesting because then it sounds like it's a comedy.
Oh, it is. It is.
Or like a musical comedy or something.
It is credited as a comedy horror musical.
Oh gosh. So then that I'm sure there are others in the canon library that we've watched so far, but like that when you get comedies produced or written by people who aren't like native born Americans, you sort of get those awkward scenes where like they thought that like, hey, this is what American comedy is, and it just ends up being weird and uncomfortable. like trying to trying to replicate like an American comedy.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering if that's what we're in store for. What's in store for us in Hard Rock Zombies?
I can't.
It just
I can't wait.
Oh boy,
Actually, I
it'll
can
be
wait,
something.
but we will watch it.
So you don't have to.
Hard Rock Zombies, the DVD cover says they came from the grave to rock and rave and misbehave. Whoo, that is something. All right, Greg, we're going to listen to the quote again right here.
Jackson!
Yes, sir.
Did you get a chance to check the wounds?
Yes, sir, I did.
What the hell did you find out?
Have you ever heard of ninjutsu, sir?
What's that?
The secret art of assassination.
Yeah, of course I have.
Well, according to witnesses' testimony and evidence, this massacre was the work of ninjas.
Ninjas?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Amazing. Best part of the film.
Yeah, of course I have.
And remember, since we said it,
That's canon.